Welcome to Defence Connect's The Progress Report, the show spotlighting the women shaping Australia's defence and national security.
Welcome to Defence Connect's The Progress Report, the podcast where we explore the stories, careers and experiences of women working across Australia's defence and national security sectors. I'm your host, Tash Taylor, and in each episode, I sit down with industry professionals to talk about their journeys, personal growth, mentorship, and what it really takes to build a meaningful career in one of the country's most complex and essential industries. My incredible guest today is Dr. Oleksandra Molloy, Senior Lecturer in Aviation at UNSW Canberra and the winner of the Academic of the Year Award at the Australian Defence Industry Awards. So welcome, Oleksandra.
Thank you so much for having me on this podcast, and it's a great pleasure being here and talking to you.
No, it's such a pleasure to have you. I know this is a long time coming now, but I'm so excited to have you here. And I think there's a few things straight off the bat that I'd love to sort of let our audience know about. And specifically, one of your amazing achievements from this year was that you won the Academic of the Year Award, which is notoriously a very competitive category. What I loved about this year, though, is that we had so much representation from women in the community. So that was awesome. But not only that, a very notable moment was that we actually had the UK High Commissioner at the awards this year, and she actually singled you out and mentioned you in her speech. So how did that feel for you? Talk us through the moment of winning it and getting that little shout out. It must have been really exciting.
Right. No, it's been incredible. You know, I think that just generally like the awards that Defence Connect organize and everyone involved are absolutely amazing. So there are so many talented people involved in different industries. And of course, one of them was Academic of the Year, the category. And I think that something that stood out is that there were more women in both nominations and, of course, finalists and winners. And to my knowledge, I'm the first female
who
won
indeed.
in this category. So I think it's a great pleasure. But I think it just really highlights that achievement, but also that resilience. And I think this will be a topic throughout our conversation today.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because it really highlights not only like hard work, but it also that passion and dedication to your career that is building up for many, many years. And, you know, it's an incredible moment. And of course, the mention by the High Commissioner was a very, very special moment. That was fantastic.
It was very cool.
Yeah. And the opportunity to deliver, you know, the message and the speech at the awards. So I think that was great. And support of your colleagues.
Yes, absolutely. I could not have said it better myself. Now, look, for anyone listening, I know we're jumping around a little bit here because our awards was back in July, but we are just off the back of Indo-Pacific, which wrapped up yesterday.
Yeah.
So we're fresh off of that. So how did you find Indo-Pacific this year? I know I had a great time, great opportunity, not just to network and catch up with some friends in the industry, but also meet a lot of new faces, new companies. I also attended one of the Women in Defence Awards, Women in Defence Association's little like lunch events that they had, which was really great. So tell me about your highlights. How did you find it all?
I think this was one of the most impressive, you know, if not the most impressive exhibition, like in terms of a maritime. So for the last couple of years, but quite incredible that so many nations represent so many different innovations and tech, but also it's about the people and connection and meeting your industry partners, your colleagues, old friends, new friends, and definitely looking forward to see what the new partnerships and collaboration may bring to the future. So I think that was incredible. Exciting. Like I've seen a couple of industries that I've been researching and working the international, like Aperos or Drone and so on and so forth. So like who just came here to Australia to represent their products. And it was very important and great talking to them and seeing what they have to offer to the market, right? And I think that was absolutely incredible. And I think the overall vibe during these 3 days was full of lots of conversation, discussion panels, as you say. Yeah, there were some incredible discussion panels that I really enjoyed. And definitely the collaboration and networking. And a new word for me was the exhibition fitness that, of course, made us so busy. And
you
just
definitely
like
get
kept
your
it up.
steps in, don't you? You definitely get the steps in.
Yeah. So one of the incredible as well, some of the initiative in this, there was a relationship as well to the women in defence. So like ADM organized a walk-in for women who are at different stages of their career, from younger to more professional, leadership. So, and there were like a number of different companies who were hosting these women and provided opportunity to ask questions, to contribute, and maybe find the new job in the future, and spark that a desire to be involved and understand a specific industry or specific company. So I think that was incredible. I served as a mentor for the program, and I'm really excited to see those, women whose eyes are like sparkling. And I just recognized myself like a couple of years ago as well. Oh, still am.
Yeah, exactly.
Still am.
I completely agree with you. I think at these type of events, it's great when we get to come together and do different initiatives for the women in the industry. And that's why I'm really excited. Obviously, this podcast, that's the whole point of it, is that we sort of, highlight women's career journeys and their successes, and then also talk about the challenges in there as well. But we actually do, and I was shamelessly plugging this, we do have a beautiful event coming up in March next year called the Progress Report Luncheon, where we're going to be having yourself as one of the amazing speakers on it. And that's going to have everyone from sort of focusing on industry to also ADF, talking about progression within the workforce, because obviously workforce is such a big issue at the moment within the space. And it's an opportunity not just for women, but for women and men to come in, collaborate, talk about, amazing, different things we can do in the industry to keep progressing it. So yes, if anyone wants to come along to that, you should definitely do that. Put that on the calendar.
I think that will be very exciting.
It will be. It will be really exciting. Now, look, let's jump into it. Now, I have some amazing questions for you because you have such an interesting upbringing, background, how you ended up in Australia as well. So I thought it'd be great to start with what it was like growing up in the Ukraine.
It was amazing. Actually, of course, it's my home country, and I really support, and I'm very, very struggling at the moment, of course, at their current time. So when the country is at war, but it is still absolutely incredible. It's an amazing country with amazing people, and we have a lot in common with Australians, like all our values and cultural various things that we do. I think that was fantastic. And I think when you grow up in a different country, so you basically find those opportunities to engage, internationally and culturally with whether it's UK, Australia, or other opportunity as absolutely fantastic, and seeing those features. There's a lot of focus as well on the culture. I used to be the world champion in dancing, so I was an instructor.
What? I didn't know that.
Well, that's why we have this podcast for.
Really?
Yeah.
What type of dance did you
So
do?
it was a sport modern dance, like hip hop, disco dance, jazz,
that
ballet,
is
all that
awesome.
stuff. But what important about it is, like, regardless which hobby you have, like for me it was dancing and different types of sport, but it helps to shape your character, build the teamwork you do in a team. You have, achievements, but at the same time you have losses. And that's again where resilience, is building up, and just that helps in your professional career because it has those qualities that really form during those years. And I think that's absolutely incredible. It's like for anyone who is listening, of course, and for our younger listeners. So like, while you have this opportunity to embrace, take opportunities, whether to travel, do sport, do your favorite hobby. It really have that balance between the work that you do, but also is something that you're passionate about. And that was one of that, of course, a great highlight. And I actually seen my team this year at another world championship when I was in Europe, and it was absolutely incredible.
Oh my gosh. Wait, so do you still do a little bit dancing on the side?
I'm trying when I have the opportunity to.
That's great.
Yeah.
Oh, I completely agree. I think team sports growing up are huge building blocks for you in your life, because you make amazing friends, but it's also, again, about teamwork.
Yeah.
And working in a team, you do it all your life, and it's fun, isn't it?
100%. But, and that's that, again, we'll think about that balance, like when you study, do different things, and just like try to balance that part. So, of course, growing as well, like back in my home country. So I just realized when, after several years or many years, that there were some incredible women who actually shaped and were my role models that I didn't realize at the time, but they were strong leaders. Yeah, starting with my mom, she's a strong leader. And actually from my childhood, I always wanted to be like her,
That's so sweet.
And whether it's academics or other leaders, mentors, whether it doesn't need to be official mentors. So it's just like those people who actually contribute and, shape your character and help and support you. And I think that's what's important. The people who you work with and things that you do. But at the same time, it made me realize that I'm really excited about doing more things. I think one of the key features for Ukrainians, like we are doing a number of different things. So the idea is not just choose one and do it great like at the time, but you can do many different things and you can combine. So I think that's like one of those opportunities, how to find, so many different exciting things and how to find the one that particularly excites you. And I think that's how you try to create those opportunities yourself and see what actually you are passionate about. And the tastes and the interest changes. And I think it also depends like on what do you want to do at the time, and you want to professionally grow, for example, or you want to do another degree. That's what I did. I did many degrees, but it was an exciting part because it potentially leads to another story that I have a background in both engineering and science and humanities and everything else, if you can think about like business and international business, that actually, again, helped me to shape my future research interests and academic interests and understand both, students and academics and future interests.
Absolutely. And look, it's great to see you talking about those, big role models in your life. I know obviously my mum as well would be, one of the most influential people in my life too. So did you find that having, the role models that you had growing up in your early career, has that sort of shaped the way how you have now helped mentor others as well?
Yeah, I think is kind of like a generational thing because first you're growing and again you have your trainer like like a role model because like your mom, your teachers and friends sometimes like but then you start probably thinking or having some challenges in your life, right? So, and you try to get those lessons that you learned from others, from your mentors, or trying to get that support. And sometimes just like a few words, like are really powerful to make that move. And I think that's what really matters. And that has driven me to, make sure that maybe I can empower or I can inspire or I can support some other women at any stage of their career, whether it's early and particularly early, right? So, but different sides. So I really want to make that, difference like where I can.
That's lovely. And I think you are absolutely making a huge impact. And I'll get onto that a little bit later because there are a few amazing initiatives that you've been a really big part of. But one thing I did actually want to ask that we sort of skipped over before How old were you when you actually moved to Australia? Because I think from memory you were telling me that you didn't really have any family out here, did you? So what gave you that big leap? And I think we may have spoken previously about obviously, I mean, coming over here, you know, it's a completely different language. It's completely different. You know, everything's different. You know, you've got all the Aussie slang that you're going to have to figure out and all that fun stuff. And it's a completely new place. So can you tell us about, you know, what made you decide that you wanted to come to Australia?
Yeah, so the key part was a new challenge, right? So the challenge, and I came to Australia to do my PhD with scholarship. But before that, of course, I was in the UK, and this was my initial challenge because this is a country with a foreign language. It was like that first, you know, very challenging time. But of course, it was very exciting. And I continued my journey in aviation, so the University of New South Wales, and worked with amazing supervisors and team, and did like lots of many other different things. So, but so moving here, like I was 27 at the time. And
so young to be coming out, you know, by yourself.
Yeah.
I'm 26 now, and I think that I don't know if I'd be able to go to a completely different country, not know anyone, and just But then look at you now. You've been winning awards. You're making huge impacts all over the world.
And I think that's important to have that courage, a combination, you know,
Absolutely.
like of kindness, and really have that vision and believe in yourself so that you can do that. You know, everything will be great, and you'll put some high goals and try to achieve them. So and that was absolutely fantastic. So when I told my parents and my family that I'm going to Australia, or I want to go to Australia, so
Were they excited for you? I'm sure they were a bit like, I'm going to miss you a lot.
My dad was excited because he knew if I'm on a mission, so I'm going to do that. But of course, my mom was like worried about the distance because it's 1,000 kilometers and it's quite far away. Which is quite.
Luckily, you're super passionate about aviation, though, so
I can fly
over there. You'll enjoy that.
Yeah, that's true.
Look, talking about your actual day-to-day life, what does that involve being a senior lecturer? I know that it sort of must be a lot sort of balancing teaching, research, and then the broader societal impacts that brings along.
Yeah, in simple terms, it is. And it definitely like just then has that deep dive into various aspects. So usual day for me would be teaching students, and doing any activities related to the education, whether it's lectures, seminars, or working with students like individual and doing project labs, like all those sort of educational part. Of course, supervising research students, PhD candidates, honors, and etc. But at the same time, thinking about some new initiatives, for example, some new short courses, whether it's for defense or collaboratively like for anyone, so to develop their professional development and various skills, and continuously thinking like what's coming ahead, like what are the innovations. So you're continuously thinking about different pedagogical approaches and, you know, those sort of things. So, and trial it in. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But, you know, if we don't try, so same, whether you're a student, staff, or anywhere, like you have to strive for that excellence, and you have to strive to bring the best to our students as we can, especially in such an important area that we work. Research is ongoing, and it is a big part as well of being an academic, is definitely identify like your stream or your passion or your interests, and both work collaboratively. I think, again, that collaboration will be that key part that I love. I really enjoy working with industry, defense, again, with my colleagues nationally and internationally. So to build those great projects that make an impact. Yeah, and I think something that I have changed in terms of my research as well, philosophy, is not necessarily just put the paper out in a Q1 journal, but of course put the paper in the Q1 journal and have an impact so that it has some practical applications. So whether it's like for policy, for strategy, something to inform, some kind of evidence-based information that can definitely help identify that. Look, and another part, it is social engagement and leadership. So basically, an academic job combines so many variety of different things, and it just definitely provides a choice that an academic can take on, whether you can engage in international societies or national societies, work with the associations, again, in the country, and so on and so forth. So, and the key part is an impact on community as well, to broader community, to disseminate those results, but also share that with our public, and just tell them what's happening and advocate for various aspects that we can have in our research and that can contribute to daily lives.
Absolutely. And look, when you're talking about collaboration and impact, something I definitely wanted to bring up was, could you please talk about your amazing experience collaborating with defence industry, particularly with your work on drones, and what opportunities you see for future partnerships there as well?
Yeah, I think that's... the area is called emerging technologies. I think they have already emerged.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But look, I think in regards to that, I had some amazing collaborations. So with Australian Army Research Centre, they are a great team, very supportive, but at the same time, so very professional and really support the research. So I'm amazed at how they provide that exemplar part in terms of the collaboration with industry and academic, and it is ongoing, and how to stay, in the forefront. So it's a continuous research and development. We can't just stop and think that we've done it. We've done our homework. And so the world is continuously evolving. We see that both uncrewed systems, when I say uncrewed systems, it's uncrewed aerial system, ground vehicle, surface vessels, or underwater vessels. There are absolutely those part in the technology that is reshaping not only warfare, but also national security and defense in every country these days. I don't think there is any country who don't think about the threat of a drone to critical infrastructure, to civilians, to many different areas actually, and as well as their country, US. So actually, I have done the part on the drones in modern warfare. It is important because it is the first evidence-based research where I worked with both Ukrainians in the front line and also Australian defense and industry. And it actually already has provided quite fruitful results. And I think, again, that word of impact, collaboration is so important, because I can see not only nationally, but internationally that this has informed strategies and impacts. And I was very lucky to talk to NATO S&T and inform them on this topic, as well as represent to the US military and, of course, in Australia. And I think it's particularly important because that's the topic of interest as many as others, and generally robotic autonomous systems, artificial intelligence. I think that's that Australia and other countries around the globe, have that kind of arms race, if we can say. And another part of collaboration is, again, I think I have amazing research projects and program, or I'm very passionate about them, but Defence Trailblazer, I'm leading a few projects there, and this is, again, a fantastic program with fantastic people who are very supportive. And again, it just not only provides that opportunity for Australians create extra jobs, but what it does, it combines that nexus between industry, academia for a defense-related problem. And this is some example when we're thinking about when people say, we need to do more collaboration. Well, this is a great example. And the experience was absolutely fascinating. Yeah, some of the project I've seen in the Interpack, my industry partners, and we've delivered some great results and continue doing. Yeah.
you just touched on that's actually something I was going to ask you about. So it's perfect segue here. So you have actually led amazing, programs like the Trailblazer initiative that you just spoke about, and I know that you've also contributed to networks like Women in Aviation. So I would really love to know, what does it take to create real success stories for women in these industries, and what legacy do you hope to leave for women in the future within the sort of aviation space?
I'm actually very passionate about, getting girls and, everyone, girls and boys, into STEM careers and into the future of aviation, aerospace, right? And more recently in drones. I do believe that these some of the important professions that actually you have to show and you have to demonstrate it since you're young, because some of the interests really form there. So, and how you do that, you start from young and then you continue, throughout your career, throughout your years in school or universities, having internships, having that, feel how that works. And you need to understand that there is a choice. There is always a choice of various professions. So you don't need to be just a pilot to work in aviation. But there are so many incredible, opportunities. And seeing that in kids' interest, right? So recently, actually, for the Science Day, we were in some of the schools, and I was actually very appreciative to the drone racing team, the ADF, who joined as well. And
drone racing team, that sounds awesome.
They are amazing. They're doing some incredible, not to mention that they are continuous champions worldwide.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. So it's absolutely exciting having those role models as well, talking to children and see their shiny eyes. I think, that's absolutely incredible. And that's just some part, but it doesn't stop, it just starts at any career, there is quite a bit of a challenge, when you just start your career in aviation, let's say in aviation, this stage, or you proceed to the next stage. And so many points, the problems of retention is a challenge for many professions as well as in aviation. And that's where, again, some mentorship programs, conferences, initiatives that will help women to navigate through is very important. And I think that's important as well. So I'm a mom of 2 young kids, and it was very important in my career, and university supported really well.
Absolutely. And I have to completely agree that education, when it comes to, getting in front of kids at an early age, is so pinnacle, because, kids do start thinking about their careers younger. And when you're not aware of different careers, like working with drones, or we recently had the Space Awards, and we had a school of girls come and they got to talk to 3 different astronauts and to watch their eyes just light up, and so many kids don't realize, there's actually a lot more jobs than you realize that go into, I think a lot of the time, especially for when you're a little girl and you think, women in aviation, you think being, working as an air hostess, which is an amazing job. But there's just so many more avenues that you can do than that. And like you said, even doing the research side when it comes to different aviation areas and drones, how cool are drones?
But even the change between, a commercial to defense aviation, military aviation, it's a big difference. But there are so many opportunities for the future generation of professionals. And I think it's important to provide that vision and provide that choice and the opportunity that it exists. And it's continuously evolving.
Look, I'd love to ask you as well, how do you think you have worked to inspire girls and women in aviation, the next generation of defence and STEM professionals? And off the back of that, something I'd really love you to talk about is, I understand a few years ago you actually visited your high school where you were sort of inspiring young girls in careers in STEM. So I think that's sort of, talking about that's really going to answer that question.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, you really did your research. So I think that was one of the important parts where it was part of the Women in Science Championship program. And as part of it, I decided to go to my home country and actually talk to kids and to the girls who are interested in robotics or aerospace or aviation and really inspire them. So having said that, I was very surprised when I came there and they had already there like a robo club and Lego club, and they were at the championship and the national one. So they were designing, delivering like different outstanding, platforms for, those skills that you expect to see. So, having that again example and talking and helping them to navigate through these mini projects was very inspiring. And for younger kids, so we did a bit of like some writing, like kind of an essay competition, and so like did like lots of interactive activities, and I think that was absolutely incredible. They loved every part of it, and I think again that first it inspired them to learn English because for a moment it is a foreign language, so now just getting more and more recognizing people are learning that, but it's still a foreign language. So
is it
definitely
something that's is English taught in most schools, or is it sort of it's
yes.
on your
English taught in all schools. And so I particularly as well took another degree in linguistics, so that helped me navigate through that. So obviously I can speak probably better.
Yeah. I think it's great to see. And, I think for those girls as well, it'd be really inspirational to see, you've lived there, you grew up there, you went to that school, you have your fun hobbies and like your amazing dancing and everything, but the academic side, to be able to turn around and go, look at all these amazing things I've done now and look how much fun you can have. Because what I love about speaking to you is the absolute passion you have and drive for being in this industry.
Yeah,
and I think
100%.
Speaking to any young woman about how exciting it is, even if it's just one girl in that room that you've inspired to get them to be in that next generation within the aviation industry would be amazing.
Yeah, and I think another part, as inspiring and tell them about like all their fantastic opportunities. So what I like to talk about is about reality and about some potential challenges and hardships, because sometimes you just need to be ready and you just need to be prepared for unexpected. You never know whether or not you will experience those challenges, but you may. And if you are, so you'll have someone to talk to or some mentor to inspire you and support. And I think that's very, very important.
Absolutely. I think mentorship is a huge thing, and just having someone that you can sort of lean on to answer your questions in your career is just very, very important.
Yeah.
Now you've been involved in so many different amazing initiatives. You made such an impact on people in this community. It's sort of crazy to me, to be honest. But a few more I'd love to know a little bit more about was you did the Women at New South Wales Canberra Champions program. What is it, and what impact has that sort of made?
Yeah, this, again, great program. We are talking today about great projects and initiatives because they have indeed made impact on new academics. So the key principle and the key, the core idea, I think that, again, appeared is from some challenges that, let's say, I experienced during my first years, let's say in a specific job or role or place. And I've already had some teaching experience and academic experience around the different countries in the world. So I just wanted to bring a little bit more perspective and support to those women who start working at the university and those who just have finished their PhD candidature, and that's potentially their first work experience. And they are super excited, and it's so important to provide those opportunities. So I've ran professional development courses that would particularly focus on the academic roles and more key elements that roles like communications and education and so on and so forth. But also we did a specific mentorship program. Official. Sometimes it's challenging, like to everyone talk about these mentors, but where are they? So, and sometimes you want that official mentoring program to be involved in. And I think that was a great opportunity to pair them with more experienced academics, both men and women, to mentor them. And another part which is very important is that social interaction and networking.
Yeah.
So just over a cup of coffee where you just can chat, but at the same time you can ask questions that are of your interest. Like throughout the couple of years that I ran that program, so we always had 100% satisfaction and also impact, and people proceeded and were very happy, and continue relationship with their mentor mentee, like again just advice or support, and I think that's great.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you seeing a lot more women coming into the industry now? And have you ever had that sort of experience of being, I know a lot of women on this podcast have said they definitely have that experience of being sort of the only woman in the room type of thing. Is that something that you have dealt with? Or do you think there's actually a fair balance now of sort of, men and women ratio within the aviation space that you're in?
I think it's growing. Definitely there are some changes, but it's very slow and it is very little change. So definitely still a lot of work needs to be done. And for both parts, first getting into the role and career, but then also to sustain and retain those
the talent there.
Brilliant talents there. Yeah. So that's 100%. But absolutely I have, and I still do experience being the only woman in the room. And I think, since my even first roles here where I worked when I just came to Australia, that was one of their interesting challenges, I think, for me, because coming from another part of the world, there is more balanced approach to that. So I've never had any issues with unbalanced, workforce. So there is always, relatively similar numbers. But there are so many different initiatives, and we need to continuously do it at different level, at government level, right? So to support, maybe to provide again those initiatives and support to women to increase that mark. But I think we're still at a relatively a low mark. Well, yesterday, right, and in the pack, so some of the companies again were saying that they experience increase, and in some companies they already have 50-50 balance, which was great to hear.
Which is awesome.
Yeah. And in others, so older, the numbers like probably in their 20% and plus, but this trend is growing, and that's a positive trend.
Yeah, 100%. I think that, hopefully in the next 5, 10, 15 years, we'll see a lot more women coming into this space and doing awesome things in the aviation industry. I know you touched on this before. You are a mum. So tell us your secrets. How is it that you have got this many PhDs? You're always, every time I talk to you, you're jet setting around the world somewhere, doing different research and in so many initiatives. How is it that you balance all this while having, how old are your little ones?
They're 5 and 7 years.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. It's getting easier probably if you compare to 5-7 years ago, but but I think I try to prioritize, of course, my family and various activities, spending with the family where possible, if possible, of course, at all. But definitely I think that balance, when we think about it, it just doesn't exist. At least for me personally, that balance doesn't exist. What exists is the priorities. It's some specific, occasions that are happening, or whether it's a work related or others. And I think that's where support from my husband is very important, because that provides me opportunities to go to the conference, and you have that support that can really help. And I think that's very, very important. But at the same time, I'm actually saying that I'm conducting a longitudinal study on engaging girls and women in STEM careers. So we'll see how this will play out. But that's challenge.
Yeah, I think it definitely can be a challenge for a lot of people. And, it's impossible to be at every single event that you want to go to, with I know I had a few women on here saying, sometimes unfortunately, and you feel bad about it, you can't go to every single, your child's maybe reading something out at a school play or something, and you sometimes are going to have to miss a few of those things.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't feel guilty about it because it is, again, a work-life balance, and there's just inevitably you're not going to be able to go to absolutely everything. But it's about, like you said, having those support systems and awesome people in your life that are there. So it's great to hear that your husband is so amazingly supportive of you, because you're doing crazy, crazy awesome things, aren't you? Crazy, amazing
He already got
things.
used to. Yeah, but that's as you say, like having that, whether it's a family or friends, and incredible, some people to support, or try to balance and juggle different things, because that's the reality, and many of us are doing this.
Exactly. And look, unfortunately, we are running out of time. So, however, at the end of every episode, we like to ask, for one short insight or piece of advice you'd like to leave with our listeners. So, I know I'm putting you on the spot here, but what amazing advice would you have to those listening?
I would say follow your passion, your dream, and put the high goals, and find the ways to achieve them. And in this process, stay resilient. Beautiful.
That is very wise words right there. Short and sweet. I love it.
That's what it's all about, right? Like so many different, of course, pieces of advice that we can give. But that's something that I'd like to single out. Resilience.
Resilience is key, and we've absolutely seen that throughout your journey. You being 27 years old, coming to a completely different country and getting those PhDs, and then you're just flying from there, aren't you? So I'm so excited to see the amazing things. We'll have to do a follow up with you in a few months' time to see what else what else is there to expect in the new things, and I'm sure there'll be a few more awards along the way as well that we can talk about. But look, thank you so much, Oleksandra, for your time. I know you're going to be running off to a flight actually after this, so I really appreciate it. And look, thank you to all our listeners out there as well. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time with another episode of the Progress Report, where you're going to hear from amazing women within the industry.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much.